Today I'm going to be showing you how to subtract a fraction from a whole number and then also subtract a mixed fraction from another mixed fraction. So if I had 4 minus 3/5, there are 3 different ways that I'm going to show you that you can solve this. The first way is to use a number bond. So if you put your 4 here in the top, and then we're going to cut this into 2 parts. Now remember, if you're looking over at the fraction that I have, 4 minus 3/5, we are dealing in fifths. So the whole is fifths. So this 4 is made up of 4 groups of 5/5. So I can say, I can put a 3 here, and I could take one of the wholes and break it into 5/5. So then from there, I would say 5/5 minus 3/5 equals 2/5, and I would bring down my 3, and when I put those back together, so I decomposed, and now I'm composing, my answer would be 3 and 2/5. Okay, the next way I want to show you to do 4 minus 3/5 is with a tape diagram. So if I made a tape diagram like this, I divided this into 4 equal segments. There are my 4 holes. This is one hole, okay, which means that all of these together would be 4. Now if I took one of these holes, remember we are still dealing in fifths. So if I took one of these holes and I just divided it into fifths like so, and I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/5, I could cross off my 3/5 because I am going to subtract 1. So I'm going to subtract 1, 2, 3. So I've taken away 3/5. That will leave me with 3 holes, and then right here 2/5. So again, I have my answer, 4 minus 3/5 equals 3 and 2/5. The last way I'm going to show you to do this subtraction problem, 4 minus 3/5, is with a number line. And to do this with a number line, I simply make a number line. Don't forget the arrow at both ends because a number line goes on and on forever. And I'm going to start here with 0. I'm going to go all the way to 4. Now the other day when I did this, when I did my number line, I drew a line and I started with 3 and I went up to 4. I think that might have been confusing for some of you, so I'm going to do this from 0 to 4. So let me back this up and take that off. Okay. So here's 0. I'm going to put 1 right here, 2 right here, and 3 right here. Actually, I'm going to space that out a little bit better. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 holes, and I need to take away 3/5. So I could take the time and I can draw in 1, 2, 3. I can make 4 slashes in each of these spaces between the numbers to make 5 equal parts. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can count all of them. So I am going to hop back. I'm going to take away 3/5 so I can start at the 4, and I can hop back and say minus 1/5. I could hop back again with an arrow and say minus 1/5. And I can hop back one more time and say minus 1/5. Another thing I could do is I can take these away and I can just hop back. 1, 2, 3. I can just take my arrow, and this is minus 3/5. Now, as you can see, I still have 1, 2, 3 holes, and then right here I still have 1/5, 2/5 left. So this would be 2/5. So again, 4 minus 3/5 equals 3 and 2/5. So we're going to continue on, and this time I am going to subtract 4 and 1/5 minus 1 and 2/5. Now if you notice, my 1 is smaller than the 2, so I'm going to have to borrow from this hole, from this 4. So the way I would do this is, let me go ahead and take those off, is I would bring down my 4 and I would divide it. I would decompose this 4 into 3 holes and 1/5, which is still a hole, and then I would go ahead and bring down my other 1/5, and I would add those two together, which gives me 6/5, and then I bring my 3 down. So now I have 3 and 6/5. And now it'll be much easier to subtract 1 and 2/5, which you just take 3 minus 1, which gives you 2, and then we are dealing in fifths. The denominators are the same, and so then I just have to say 6 minus 2, which is 4. And that is how you would use a number bond to do this mixed number fraction. So now I'm going to scroll. Let me write my problem again. 4 and 1/5 minus 1 and 2/5. Okay, now we're going to do this as a tape diagram. So I'm going to draw my tape diagram here. And I'm going to divide this into fourths. But then I've got to remember my little tiny fifth over here. So this is equal to 1 whole. This is 1 whole right here, if you remember that. So that makes all of this right here 4. And this little part right here is 1/5. Now if I were to divide up one of the fourths into fifths, because that is what we're working with here. We're working in fifths. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/5 plus this 1/5. That gives me 6/5, correct? 6/5, and this gives me 3 wholes. So again, I have 3, if I bring these together, 3 and 6/5 minus 1 and 2/5. 3 minus 1 is 2. I'm going to bring over my 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. So in this last example, you can see I've drawn a number line. I drew a number line, and I'm going to make a little segment here, and this represents 1/5 because I have 4 and a 5th. Now, I'm going to also divide up between my 3 and 4 and my 2 and 3 into fifths. Now I have to take one whole. So from 4 and 1/5 all the way to 3 and 1/5, that is one whole. But then I also have to take away 2/5. So I'm going to go 1, 2, I'm going to hop back 2/5, and that's, I'm going to write that right here, 2/5. Write that a little better. And that's going to leave me with 2, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 from here all the way to here. 1, 2, 3, 4 fifths. So I would bring those together right here, and my answer, just like before, is 4 and 1/5 minus 1 and 2/5 is 2 and 4/5.